Everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 13th February 2022. Okay, let's see which are the important articles in today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the articles relevant to our examination. As it is Sunday's newspaper, we know that two important pages, Science and Technology page and FAQ page. Many articles appear relevant to our examination. Also in other pages, also some nationally and internationally important news relevant to our examination. First of all, let us take overview of all these articles. What is essential practice test? On page number 12, FAQ page, on that page, this article talks about or having the context of a recent controversy that is going on in Karnataka over the we can say the girl children or the students wearing the hijab or headscarf. So they have been not allowed by some of the pre-university colleges, and because of that there has been protests by aggrieved parties as well as the other, we can say, the religious people and students. So that's why it has been creating the problem, and Karnataka government is Karnataka High Court is listening to this particular case. Okay, so we'll try to find out what is the interim order of Karnataka High Court, constitutional provisions regarding this, essential and non-essential practices, what are the precedents given by some high courts and the Supreme Court regarding this. We will try to also find out what are the criticism regarding this practice followed here by the courts and way forward. Okay, so from polity paper or polity part GS2 paper, so it is important for us. Then on news in frames, there are different photographs on Saturdays and Sundays newspaper, two supplements, 2 pages are there like news in frames. So in today's newspaper, they are giving the impact of climate change and global warming and sea level rise, how it is impacting Sundarban islands. Okay, Sundarban land, we can say simply. So we will try to find out this because there can be question in GS1 paper geography part as well as GS3 paper environment part, the impact of climate change, okay, or sea level rise. Such kind of questions can be asked specifically on the low lying areas like Sundarbans. Now specifically for prelims examination, World Food Program to allot Indian wheat in Afghanistan. So Indian government has come up with the agreement with United Nations World Food Program to provide the wheat supplies to the Afghanistan. Okay, so about this United Nations World Food Program, this was in news last year when it received Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, again it can be asked in prelims examination, basic information we will cover here. Then James Webb's we can say telescope spots its first star in Ursa Major. So it is important development from space science, space technology we can say. So we will try to cover this for prelims examination. Then Micronesian states to stay in Pacific bloc. So there is one news on the world page, and this talks about this Micronesian states are going to be part of Pacific bloc. Earlier they had decided to withdraw from this. So we will try to find out what is Micronesia, Melanesia and Polynesia, this grouping of South Pacific islands or Pacific Ocean islands together. So we will find out. Then some of the news, small news are there. Instead of dealing with them separately, we have added them as prelims pointer. They are relevant to our prelims examination. And finally practice MCQ for our prelims examination. First article, what is essential practice test? Okay, so let's first understand the context here. What is the controversy that is going on in Karnataka? So yes, our headscarf, which is, we can say, practice in Islam religion. Muslim women, they wear hijab or headscarf compulsory as a part of religious practices, And there has been controversy in Karnataka related to, we can say, some of the pre-university colleges, they have not allowed women or students wearing hijab entering into the colleges. Now those students, girl students, they started protesting here that they are impinging on their rights. Okay, and this particular action by the college administration, it is illegal. So when these students started protesting, the other students, especially belonging to Hindu religion, they started protesting by wearing, we can say, their religious scarves or turbans. Likewise, the protests are going on by both parties, and the situation is completely volatile throughout Karnataka now. Okay, this is the situation. Then Karnataka High Court has taken the cognizance of this situation, and in an interim order has said that no student should wear any kind of religious attire in the college. Okay, so until the final decision is taken by the court. So this is the interim decision. Let's understand what are the issues, or we can say constitutional issues, or related to our examination. So the major issue is related to fundamental right. Now, which fundamental rights are concerned here? First, freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion has 4 such fundamental rights, and within that Article 25. So this talks about freedom of conscience, and to practice, or we can say profess, practice and propagate one's own religion. So we can say that this is protecting individuals' right to freedom of religion. Okay, and this is the fundamental right which is at stake here. Okay, so wearing headscarf is part of, we can say, religious practice, and one has the freedom to have the religious practice. This is the argument given by those students. Second important question or issue is involved here is Article 21, right to education, right to we can say Article 21A, which was added in the Constitution through 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002. Okay, so Article 21A, right to education. So whether colleges not allowing those, we can say, children or students wearing hijab, does it amount to violation of Article 21A also? This is also being questioned here. Along with that, we know that there are some reasonable restrictions to this fundamental right under Article 25. What is that? Public order, morality and public health. Okay, so this is, we can say that fundamental reasonable restrictions for this fundamental right. So wearing the hijab and not allowing those students wearing the hijab, so whether it is part of, we can say, the reasonable restriction, whether it can be called as a reasonable restriction, so that is again the constitutional question. So in this manner we should be aware that there are 3 such issues involved here. Now what is the constitutional position about it? Now constitutional position, we know that just now we learn about this Article 25. This article provides for freedom of conscience and to practice, propagate one's religion. Okay, and if we are following this, then of course wearing the attire is part of, we can say, religious practice, and one can follow that, no one can stop that simply. But there are some reasonable restrictions here, and those reasonable restrictions in terms, we can say, vague. Okay, so if it is leading to let's say the public order is disturbed, then it can be reasonable restriction. If the morality is at stake, then again it can be, we can say, reasonable restriction. The other important aspect we should understand is some of the cases we can say these students are adhering to, like Kerala High Court in one of the case has, in 2018 it allowed, you know, two girl students to wear hijab and give examination. Okay, one of the pre-medical examination, that in that examination they were allowed here. Okay, so this case is one of the precedent that is being used here by those students in that case here. Okay, so this is the constitutional position you should be aware. Along with that, the Supreme Court, how do we draw the line between matters of religion and matters of other than religion? So here this question dates back to 1954 Shirur Mutt case. Shirur Mutt case, Supreme Court. Okay, in this case, the Supreme Court had said that whatever the essential and non-essential practice of the religion is there, that is decided on the basis of study of the religious scriptures and we can say texts. Okay, so from case on case basis here onward, Supreme Court decided that this particular aspect is essential practice of religion, this aspect is not essential. The latest one in 2018, Sabrimala case, where the menstruating women were not allowed entry into the Sabrimala temple. Okay, so this was the case, and in this Supreme Court, as 4:1 majority had said that it is not essential practice of the religion. It is not essential practice of the religion. But one judge, that too female judge, dissented here and said that it is essential practice. Also Supreme Court in majority decided that those followers of Ayyappa temple here in Sabrimala, they are not separate religious sect we can say. Okay, so they are not separate religious sect. This division or let's say denomination is not allowed by the Supreme Court here. Okay, so this is example of latest case, you can take this example. Okay, so this is how on case by case basis they had decided. Now what is the criticism against the essential practice test? So the most important test is that the what constitutes essential and non-essential practice is not decided once and for all. Rather, the focus of the courts is to only dispose those cases at hand. On case by case basis, they are deciding this is essential, this is not essential. Okay, so once and for all religious aspects of or practices, they are not decided. Whenever the question or the issue comes before the court, then court looks into it. This has been the practice, and this has created the dilemma before the, we can say, the policymakers in general society also. What actually constitutes essential and non-essential practice. The second important point we should understand is that to find what constitutes essential and non-essential practice, one has to go in details of religious structures or religious scriptures, texts. Okay, so this is actually not part of the job of judiciary, and many times what happens is it takes a lot of time. There can be misjudgments also. Because of this. Every time the question arises, the judges have to go into, or judiciary has to go into the details of these texts. And of course they differ, the scriptures also differ among themselves. Okay, one scripture will say like this practice is there, the other scripture will say that this is not there. Okay, so this again creates the problem. So what should be the way forward? The way forward here should be to follow the constitutional morality and legitimacy. Legitimacy means that people should be having or support to that decision or those practices or values, right? And constitutional morality. So constitutional morality is based on the values promoted by the constitution. What kind of values? Liberty, equality, dignity, freedom. For example, these two were invoked in that Sabrimala case: dignity of the women, equality of the gender equality aspect. So that was invoked there. Of course, a similar kind of things can be looked into whenever, let's say, religious aspect, because that is common to all people. No, these constitutional values, ethos, they are common to all people, and that's why such decisions should be on the basis of constitutional morality. Okay, yes, further this topic may be dealt in detail in the ED lectures. Okay, so we are just discussing, up till now we have not discussed this issue, that's why we wanted to cover it. Okay, next, sinking Sundarbans. Okay, so in this article, basically a brief information in terms of photographs. They are showing that how Sundarban islands are submerging, facing the problem of declining soil productivity, soil erosion issue, deforestation, and at the same time increasing number of cyclonic storms, flooding, and simply drinking water supply is not there. ये सारा चीज़ें उन्होंने वहाँ पे बताया है. You just note it down as impact of climate change or global warming, how the lowland areas of Sundarbans are facing problem. For example, submergence of land. Okay, so this is happening because of sea level rise and increasing number of storms. Okay, so you can mention that the number of cyclones or cyclonic storms are increasing in recent times, Amphan and Yas during the pandemic. So this created problem. You should also understand that the people in the Sundarban, they are facing unemployment, poverty, and they are very much dependent on the forest of Sundarban. So they are cutting the trees for the fuel wood and other purposes. Because of that, soil erosion is happening, and because of that, further we can say inundation of the land is happening. Okay, so sea level rise. Along with that, we should understand there is salt water incursions into the mainland, and therefore the cultivable land is becoming barren. Okay, because saline water is entering into the land, right? So cultivable land is decreasing. So issue of food security. Then drinking water crisis, because this groundwater, sea water is entering into groundwater, right? So because of that, what is happening? Drinking water crisis. Also, deforestation is leading to soil erosion. Further increase in the sea level is also creating the issue of soil erosion in the coastal land. So in this manner, we should talk about the impact of climate change in those areas. There can be direct question, and indirectly you can mention this as a case study. Impact of sea level rise or overall climate change on Sundarban area. Okay, then World Food Program to allot Indian wheat in Afghanistan. Now this is important development from IR section. Yes, India signed an agreement with United Nations World Food Programme for the distribution of 50,000 tons of wheat that it has committed to send Afghanistan as a part of humanitarian assistance. As we know that Pakistan was not earlier allowing India's consignment, now in third party we have made agreement with WFP, and now the trucks will pass through the Pakistan. According to the MOU, wheat will be taken through Pakistan to Afghanistan border, crossing and handed over to World Food Programme officials in Kandahar beginning 22nd February itself. The wheat will eventually be divided into 5 batches of 10,000 tons and distributed across the country on approximately 200 trucks that are run by this World Food Programme. Okay, so World Food Programme is individually running the program along with the NGOs of the Afghanistan. It has own logistic networks in Afghanistan, and it is ensuring the food security in the war-torn country. Iran has also offered to facilitate transfer of the wheat through Chabahar port. So yes, as Pakistan denied earlier through Chabahar port, Iran had also allowed such movement of wheat grains. Okay. Then United Nations World Food Programme, brief information about it. Yes, this program or this arm of United Nations founded in 1961. It is the food assistance branch of United Nations and world's largest humanitarian organization focused on hunger and food security. Its headquarters is in Rome, Italy, and offices in 80 countries. Okay, so yes, it is executive member of United Nations Development Group UNDG, and it has won Nobel Peace Prize 2020. Okay, so this much information is sufficient for prelims examination. Now, James Webb Space we can say telescope. This was launched last year. NASA's new space telescope has captured its first starlight and even taken a selfie of its giant gold mirror. Okay, so it was working for first target as bright star 258 light years away in the constellation Ursa Major. So we learn this in NCERT. Ursa Major, one of the important constellation that can be observed at night in the sky. Okay, so this is the work of telescope. Now this telescope, which is the successor to the aging Hubble telescope, space telescope, will seek light from the first stars and galaxies that were formed when the universe was formed nearly 14 billion years ago. Especially we consider Big Billion theory as the credible theory to explain the formation of universe, and also examine the atmosphere of alien worlds for any possible signs of life. Okay, also Webb's 6.5 meter gold plated mirror is largest ever launched mirror into the space. Now this is information for prelims examination. Okay, space science. Then Micronesian states to stay in Pacific bloc. Which bloc we are talking here? Pacific Islands Forum. Earlier they had decided that they will leave this forum. Micronesian islands, which are these? Palau Island, Kiribati, Marshall Islands. These are the islands, Caroline Island, Mariana Island. Okay, so they are the part of Micronesia. See, there are 3 groupings in the Pacific Ocean of these islands. Micronesia, then Melanesia. Melanesia major country is New Guinea. Then Solomon Islands are there, Vanuatu, Fiji Islands and New Caledonia. This is also sometimes in news. New Caledonia, it is French territory in Southern Pacific. Polynesia, Hawaiian Islands of US. Then you can see Tuluva Island and Cook Island. You can see here Easter Islands off the coast of Chile. They are very famous Easter Islands. Then New Zealand is also included here in Polynesia. And Tonga Island, recently it was in news, volcanic eruption. right? So Tonga Island, it is part of Polynesia. So this is from geography mapping perspective. We can expect question that which particular island is part of which grouping here. Okay? Yes. Now some of the prelims pointers in an isolated manner. There are news, like one news on magazine page or magazine supplement. Valley the Mai Nature Reserve in Seychelles Island in Indian Ocean region. It is the smallest UNESCO World Heritage Site in the world. Okay, but what is the uniqueness of this equatorial, we can say, island? So the kind of palm tree, it is found here. Coco de Mer, the largest and heaviest nut in the world, is found here. It is shaped like green heart, and the outer husk, when removed, reveal a two-lobed nut. Okay, the photograph is mentioned there on that we can say article. It faces threat from extinction today over its purported aphrodisiac properties. Okay, so this information, and the easiest way to identify Coco de Mer plant is from the other palms is to look for its large triangular leaves. So it is having triangular leaves that can grow up to 30 feet in the length, and it is a dioecious tree, meaning there are separate female and male trees. Okay, so simply this much information is sufficient, although it looks like very trivial information, but yes, for our examination such kind of unique, that too from the Hindu newspaper, it is important. Also, Uniform Civil Code is in news, so that's why basics, Article 44 of Indian Constitution in DPSP as one of the liberal DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, which states that the state shall endeavor to secure uniform civil code for citizens throughout the country of India, the territory of India. At present, there are different personal laws for different religion, Hindu religion, Muslim religion, or we can say Christian religion. However, there is one state in India, that is Goa, which is having uniform civil code for all people. And which code is followed here? Portuguese Civil Code of 1867. It is an example of common family law prevalent in the state, and it is applicable to not only Christian people but also all people living in Goa. Okay, this is the only state having uniform civil code. Okay, yes. So what should be answer to this question? Okay, so we are talking about UNWFP, World Food Program. We have to find the incorrect statement, sorry. Okay, incorrect statement we have to find. Yes, it was established in 1961, this is correct statement. Its headquarters is located in Rome, Italy, yes, this is correct. It received Nobel Prize in 2019, this is incorrect. 2020. As it is recent one, you should remember the year here. This is incorrect. So we have to find incorrect statements, no? So C, that is 3 only, is the correct answer. Okay, fine. So these are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper.